Hi everyone, how's it going? I want to talk about the nature of love and how it's been viewed as humans with two eyes in our world, and how we've actually brought it down to be a skerrick of existence that seems to be a unattainable flotation, like frequency, like it's in, we know it, but we don't think much of love. So therefore we made it into only what the two eyes can witness, and that's why people are so shocked when they feel love. So we're opening our eyes, or our inner being, to the fact that our spirit and soul is love. Okay, that doesn't sound like or look like the path that's going on at the moment when you look anywhere on the planet. And we would do our best to appreciate love wherever we see it. So let me clarify what I mean with that. If someone smiles at you, that's the resonance of love in their being. It's not of anything other than two spiritual souls made of love from heaven on the earth having their experience of life. And love is the fact that it's a high vibration and it's easy to go, how you going? Okay, but we just would look at that as everyday life. So what's happening now is whatever interaction where you give of yourself to something and you know you're giving it of a nice nature, that's you love being. So like the hippies had it right in the 60s coming into the 70s, right? But we also had the developmental stage of technology in other people on the planet coming into what can we do with ourselves. So we got the hippie nature of us with the awareness of love, okay? Because they would take their time out and appreciate the personal, the human contact. And so much can be achieved in that. But when the whole planet isn't like putting that first, then there's this imbalance of, don't you see that love is everything, man? And then there's others on the planet that don't. Their form of life itself is technological advancement, making money. And then when people get on the money bandwagon, we're in this speed of money instead, and latest technology. And these things are good. We know they're good. But it's the balance of these things that we mustn't forget. Because when we're imbalanced and our mindset is taken over by the currency of love, is who looks like they've got the most attention or valuables like materials or things like this. And it's simply not the truth of the nature of love. So it's like we can disguise and mimic that we're doing the love thing, but what's actually happening there is it's difficult for people to bring balance within themselves. So if majority of your daily life or mindset says life is like this, we push forth, get things done, and nothing else really matters. So what we've learnt to do is not focus on our beings, right? Which you can't get rid of this one fact, and we've tried our hardest, that we are love beings. We couldn't come into the world as children without it. We can't survive without it. But yet, from the small age, straight away, we're teaching children about freaking 9 to 3, which turns into 9 to 5, programmed response to life. And you know, you got big classrooms of children with like one adult, and it's like, how in the hell is that human love being meant to maintain a joy aspect of existence when they go into a set program? And the flexibility there would be fine, but there's not a lot of flexibility. It's must get stuff done. Here is your little break. Go and play. Or here is your break, older children. You have a little bit of time to connect with who you are inside, of what joy in life means to you. So it's like we step into a world of programming where joy is the expense you get to spend at break time. Okay, so the point of all of this is that we've forgotten and keep forgetting and push on in forcing nature, which is built up on a structure that doesn't emphasize that we're love beings. And so that's what we've forgotten. And manipulation on the planet has liked us forgetting about ourselves and the expansiveness that joy brings and the intelligence that joy brings as love beings. So it's a forgotten power that really does take down society. And like, if you want to talk societal standards, there's a real lack of love response on all levels, and you can't drug that shit back into health. So it's engaging to open up the very fact and to sit at a wider table of awareness that it's not in structuring to hold in place ideals of how society is perfect. like how everyone should reach standards and that's it. Because what's forgotten is the very love nature. So that's about as much as I'll say in that way, because you can't explain that love is a nature that's forgotten. Because the more I say love, the more I feel into the current resonance of this planet. When they hear love, they just think about, they might go to the joy of their child or something like that, love. But majority of the time it's, what have I got and how do I get it? But that's where we're forgetting the true nature of ourselves. And so it's really a untapped resource. And we're mind programmed into this current existence. So if we don't have more people in recognition of that, then we don't have more people in recognition of that. And so I've written a kind of cycle thing here to remind us of what the hell I'm talking about. So at the center, I've got love in action. Okay. We don't think of that. We think of, if something's not going our way, how do I push forth to get it? Because the very existence of love being there is a subtle strength untapped. So instead of going in the immediate consciousness, I haven't got what I want, I'm not getting what I want, in the smallest of bickering about something you want and you're just not getting it, allowing the space in the subtle nature of existence, love is more powerful. So love in action. So sometimes love in action is just holding space. Okay, because we get in there and we try to work it out and nitty grit and male dominate. So we masculine dominate, either woman or female. And we're not actually embracing the natural wider aspect of, if I don't force, life takes care of me. If I don't use my nature in a forceful way, the very existence of life is love, has got my back. Okay, this is what we don't acknowledge. This is the power. And where the power is of most use is in the small moments where we can actually really step back. Not look to be stepping back and I'm doing this stepping back thing. It's you actually become wiser by sitting back and letting life show you how to work with love. So you're co-creating with existence. And in that existence is powerful resource of our spirit's energy teams, beings that we may or may not see in this lifetime, but with the lighter field, have more contact in ways that are very enlightening, because that's the whole fact of having spiritual teams on the other side. For our whole plant of our spirit walking the earth. So, yeah, this is where you open up to we're never actually alone, that it is a love. We are love, part of a bigger love. And by not being a forceful human, we allow ourselves to reach this resonance. So, you know how life has been to, a lot of the time, it is natural to go at something. So, like, you want something, it's not going your way, and if you just go at it, that's accepted as natural. And it's done in front of us, and it's intimidating, or behind the scenes in constructs that limits the life, human life, and we just got to accept them. Like, you know, you come across all different parts of the system that is actually, you feel, is not a resonance of lifting the human spirit. It's of built construct put into place by a number of people, and we're just told that it's for the best. This is the way it's developed. These people in suits, or these people in these offices, or whatever, that's the way it is. So that's another limiting, forceful construct, and that's been gotten away with because we've accepted that force is the way, putting up with force is the way. It's very all male, masculine dominated. Whether it's male or female, women are a part of it as well. But it is a masculine held in place, forceful nature, and women can join that if they want to believe in it as well. And then, yeah, all sorts of things happen there. So, love in action, all right, which we don't do, but that's what's needed in every way. So, if we accept change or changes, which means you don't have to force something, you remember, love is in action, and I'm going to be in the resonance of it. So you accept change in this way. I'm going to embrace that there's another resonance, and I don't have to be in control or force. There's another resonance that wants to open up, and it's a helpful resource. And this needs to be accepted. Change, this acceptance of change is life. And life is not to give our attention to fears. And that might sound like an out there thing, like, yeah, occasionally I get a fear of this. But fear is right in there in the current mindset in lots of things, and we don't realize how it's layered down in our choices from our relationship center, our orange chakra consciousness, into our solar plexus. Because it's like this operation that's been ongoing and we've bought into it. So you really got to catch what frequency, like vibrational shift, you're in and what choice you add to it. So that's the simplification of it. Like, if one can slow down their human life and say, you know, how am I feeling in this moment? And no matter what it is, how am I going to choose my vibration, my frequency, like the vibration I'm going to hold, what I'm going to speak, how I'm going to present my energy field? Am I going to allow spaciousness? Or am I willing to use my energy to force something? Okay? Okay? Because if we're believing in the force, then we're of the low and slow consciousness. And there's things to drop away there so that the person can let their consciousness rise into seeing space is healthy, force and old patterns of fears in any aspect. Fears in a brief conversation when you're not getting your way and you just decide that force and negativity and hold down is better instead of best intent for the space. Best intent for all is going to bring the best result. Now this is very real. It's not like hippie talk because, hello, I'm filming this on a phone, so it's not like I'm going to go to the park, man, and hope that everything gets better. You know, it's let's open up our consciousness in any moment to the resonance output and how the resonance input we're choosing to see. Where are we seeing life from? Is it when people come at us, is it a fight? Or do I rise into my consciousness, allow some space, and not buy into lower vibrations, become them, and keep giving them? It's all this kind of stuff. So accepted changes is life. Life is not give our attention to fears. And that's what we call life. Attention to fears and battling humans with our fears. So it's accepted change is life. It's not fears. We need to move with momentum of the love in action. So it takes doing. So it's one thing to know, it's another to notice how you're operating. Now, I'm sure you get the feel right now that I'm talking about a subtle nature that we need to open to, that has more space and answers than just the forced construct we've all at one time, and probably many still do, given into this is the way life is. So we're accepting and giving in to something that doesn't have the maximum breathing space. Faces takes doing, and this is faces your own fears, and that is life. Like once you face them, meaning just face them, like walk through it, accept you're going to physiologically feel a heart rate increase or anything like that. But you get through it, and getting through something is that moving momentum, you're doing it. You just accept that that's life, and it's not like fear takes all your attention anymore. And the heart and soul expands through this, and that's what you want. That's what life is. You prove to yourself once you catch yourself in a fearful reactive state. It's like, hang on, give it space, because I am more than this. So I don't need to interact with like swords and knives and shit. And I'm not talking about actual, I'm talking about our sharp, forceful consciousness in action. Instead of, hang on, love. So sometimes you have to take what they call like the bigger person, meaning shit's going down, you want to interact with it, but the wisdom is, hang on. It's like listening to your angel, and it's like, hang on, do you want a better outcome? Okay, well, doing the same thing of the current negative vibration, you're not going to be in that free open space. Life is an adventure of love and action. So we're going to come across the terrain of our fears. We need to catch them in the little, the sneaky, like, because the ego can believe in the fears. And, you know, the ego is our physical identity in the world, who people know us as. And it's been very densified and limited over time that that's who we are. So therefore, the old energy of everything that I just talked about is in the ego nature identity, and we believe it's all there is. So yeah, we need to catch that we're not the forceful natured ego. We can choose to be that reactor, but it's going to close us down more and more, which is the dissolve we're seeing, like with the battles and things on the planet. You know, we don't want to dissolve. We want the forcefulness. This is the only way we've known life, you know. Let's make loud noise. Let's lie. Let's battle to keep our old way of life. So it's trying its best. But as I was saying, and as we all know, I don't need to say it again, because nothing I've said in this video is anything we don't know somewhat, but it's putting that expanse around it that is not of the mindset. So it's not of like reaching for the intellect to say, oh, when she talks about space, that must mean if I know more stuff about this world, the way it's been operating. Well, that's part of it in one hand. But in that one hand, that's not the other hand. And the inclusion of the other hand is what's needed. It's not, I'll just take the intellectual understanding and we might change this a little bit. You know, intellectually look at it, change a little bit. But the other hand, so a balance, is there's this whole aspect that we're built on love. So you can intellectualize in all different avenues in this whole aspect. But if you don't allow the space to co-create with the nature of us, love, then you're really just intellectualizing. So love can't be intellectualized, which is like, I'll go back to the beginning of this video because I feel it can come to a close now. The beginning of this video, I said it was something that we barely even realize we are and barely even access, as though it's anything at all, due to the mind and then the rise of some intellect with change. Oh, but it's still not working. It's not whether we dress up in suits and say that we've written out a contract now about what's going on in Gaza and Israel, Palestine and Israel. It's not whether we sign a bit of paper and intellectualize that that's what we want. What is the love? Where is the love in action? And it's not just to feed people, give them shelter, food, and medical supplies. It's who in the hell says that force is better with any human, and at the most disgusting level, to the wisdom of, hang on a second, I should really stop bombing those humans because we don't like it when it happens to us. wait for it, wait for it. You've opened a space of intelligence and some intellect momentum in the space of love. And that's what I mean by the word love. We think it's in the far off distant lands of others, or it's in the wealth and the looking glamorous. I don't have that. I mustn't be loved. You know, like they get all the love. No, they're just getting attention because they got stuff, and perhaps they're pretty good at the things they do. That's great. Be happy for them. That's love. So, you know, I'm just showing how the scales are tipped. Like when the youth grow up admiring this, what actually is love to them? And then they turn into adults. And so you can see the popularization, and now we have, you know, like the trumpet upheld president that says we run things via numbers and wealth. So if you were to sit down with him and say, what is love? He'll probably blah, 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 blah. But would he live to it? Is love stopping children getting hurt and their parents dying? Is that love? Well, don't you know I signed a contract? That should have happened. I don't know what they're doing. But yet he participates in the whole mix of it. So we got to accept in the silence, and I think this is drawing to a meditation, which I will do shortly today. We've got to embrace in the silence that there is actually something. Because what the mind doesn't do, our minds on planet Earth, is say, when I sit down to meditate, you know, I'm either bored, I don't like the silence for too long, what am I getting out of this, etc. Now this is the ego trickery of we don't know the space, intellect to receive via, you know, infinite love knowledge as our space. So like, yeah. So when you sit in the quiet, you have to realize I'm an actual like a constant, alive, in motion power in this space. And even though it might intimidate me to think the atmosphere is more than the walls, the space in between the walls, you know, the furniture, you know, it might intimidate me to think it's actually more alive than I realize. So this is another part of the rise in consciousness, because once people know this aliveness, and it is like doing something like a stretching session, like so if you do yoga, it's quiet, you're going within, you're just breathing, or even Qigong or Tai Chi if people enjoy it. You're acknowledging how you feel once you've moved in the flow just of this space. You're letting go of the intellectualizing. It's like you have to think minimal about if I'm holding this right, and that's all. You're just moving in this space. And you start to feel different. And so it's the layers, the levels of our being that starts to acknowledge. And it's not just, oh yeah, that meditation thing, I really don't know what good that would do. Oh, this spiritual stuff and, you know, the spiritual path and stuff. Yeah, I've got lots of money in the bank. I'm good. I don't have to worry about that stuff. So it's getting further and further away and living just a human existence. And that's where we see all the problems occurring, because we think that's the currency. But yeah, we're heaven on earth. And so, of course, there's power in heaven. I mean, when we glorify Jesus, really, the simplification of the message was, we're more powerful than this. Don't be afraid of it. I'm not standing out because I want to emphasize that I'm better than. I want to connect with you, you know? Yeah. And then you could say to a person that he's connected with, what do you feel and how do you feel? Because the fact that you can feel something lighter, I'm a representative of the truth, the light, the love. So it's not open your eyes back up again or feel better and then look at me and I'm the statue, you know, that you should give all your power to. It's saying, you felt it, you know it, isn't it great? Keep going, expand who you are. So instead of like begging, pleading, hoping, praying, it's actually engaging in the nature of light and love. So, you know, that in our energy on the planet, it may seem like a far off thing, but it's not. It's actually quite. Start doing it and you're acknowledging it, and then you'll feel it. And you have to be brave with love and action and keep giving of your changes that you feel. Okay, I think I've babbled on enough, with great pleasure of getting it out. And at some time today, we'll ease and flow into the meditation of acknowledging that love space that we need to access. And it chills everything out. And that's what we want. In the chill, like, you know, the relaxed being, that's the expanse we want. And people who are of the rushed mindset, full in their space of control, they have some real coming down to do, because you can't live your life without this acknowledgement of the whole. So you can't, you know, put forth, I want this, and they're waiting. The other hand is like, no, what are you going to do? You know, you need to access yourself in the love space. And so I'll continue on from there when we do a meditation together. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you then. Bye for now.